What is up, everybody? This is Jay Tahoe, and today's video is a request from Connor Maynard. So, Connor says, Jay, can you make a video sharing your knowledge about how to prevent hernias for men and what muscles need to be targeted or specific exercises for that? I recently discovered that in the lower area of the abdominal wall, the obliques, the internal muscles are a natural weakness for men. To which I replied probably in a few days. Well, that's 3 weeks ago, so doing my best, Connor. But I will disclose to you I have a small hiatal hernia. Most likely from going heavy when I was younger. You are right. Hernias are quite common among men. I think it might be better to speak on managing one if you have one versus prevention, TBH, right? And that's just again because speaking with you guys open and honestly, I do have a hiatal hernia. I've had it for a long time. I'll go into that in just a minute. So Connor says you can divide the video into two parts, one on how to prevent, one on how to manage. So sure, we can definitely do that, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. So Connor, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. Right, that the primary cause for hernias is weak oblique muscles, in the sides of the abdominal wall here. Well, first let's talk about what a hernia is, right? That is when your stomach, your large intestine kind of gets like pushed, to the side or off the track. And it can result in a lot of things, right? Pain, being number one, or in my case, bad acid reflux. Now, you can also get that if the lower abdominal sphincter, doesn't close on its own and your body doesn't have control over it. It'll basically cause you to upchuck your food when you eat it. I know I struggle with things like tomato sauce, vodka sauce, anything with high acidity can definitely trigger heartburn episodes. I manage mine through medication, and for the most part, it's mostly okay. I had an endoscopy last year, and I don't have a Barrett's esophagus. Barrett's esophagus is where you've had so much acid reflux, it actually starts to damage the lining of your esophagus, which can lead to cancerous cells. And if you have a Barrett's esophagus, there is a 14% chance of esophageal cancer, which is actually a very deadly cancer, very painful one. So, hernias for the most part just lead to pain and aren't, don't lead to any serious consequences. However, worst case scenario, if left unchecked for too long and the side effects unchecked for too long, can lead to a worst case scenario being death. But again, that is the extreme. Most people who have hernias just adds discomfort to their life and doesn't really lead to any serious repercussions. Keep in mind, I am not a doctor, so this is by no means medical advice. This is more so just speaking from experience, right? Because I have had I have a hernia. And I would say too, Connor. All right, so let's talk about prevention. I think the prevention is pretty straightforward, right? That pretty much just comes down to one, being fit, stretching. Definitely you want to stretch. Two, not lifting excessive weight that you can't handle yet. It would be my guess when I was 16 years old. Okay, I was benching 250. And I only weighed, maybe like 160, 170 pounds back then. And I was also running track a lot, so it was a lot of different demand on the body. So that probably that puts a lot of stress on your abdominals. So you don't want to have if you're diabetic or very overweight and just have in general very weak obliques, that can cause a hernia to happen. So I'm going to link a video. It's called 8-Minute Abs. It's a great video. As you guys know, I've shown you guys pictures before. I did have a six-pack when I was younger. So this video is primarily how I did that. This will lead to stronger obliques. There are some good oblique exercises in it. I'll actually show you guys in a minute some oblique exercises. But I wish I'd done this before I got into the heavy lifting. Because that can definitely help. So, building up those oblique muscles, probably like doing a healthy amount of running, maintaining a reasonable body fat percentage. These are all going to be the best ways to prevent yourself from getting the hernia. A lot of guys don't have a strong core, and that's definitely gonna play a role in it, right? So that's I think that stuff is pretty straightforward. Nothing that a quick Google search won't lead you to. So but again, right? I told you, I was honest with you, Connor. I'm telling you, I'm not really the guy to ask on prevention because I can't really speak to that. I've had a hernia for a long time, so I can't really give you the best advice on that. I will, demonstrate some of the exercises and link the video below. 8 minute abs, awesome video. It's really old. It's really cheesy. It's from the '90s, but it is an effective video in just terms of building abdominal strength. I will say that it has worked for me in the past. All right, now I'm going to talk about part two, which is maintaining when you have the hernia, right? Or managing pain and managing the side effects when you have the hernia. So for me, I would say that the hernia is slightly life impacting. I get a little pain in my stomach, but it's nothing too crazy. I would say the worst impact is the acid reflux caused by the hernia, right? Also known as GERD. So when that happens, like I said before, if I eat something, highly acidic, like tomato sauce, vodka sauce, orange juice, I am a hot sauce fiend. I am a spicy food fiend. I love that stuff, but it does not cooperate with the GERD, and that will cause me to have acid reflux, and I'll get that like in the throat sometimes. So best thing to do, I would say, is if you suspect you might have a hernia, is to have an endoscopy. They will find it if you have an endoscopy, which is a very quick medical procedure. They'll put you to sleep. They're going to stick a laparoscopic camera down your throat, go down into your stomach, and see what's going on. They'll also tell you if you have like a pre-Barrett's esophagus or if you have any damage to your throat from said acid reflux, which luckily I did not. So, if that's the case, most hernias you're not going to need surgery for. If it's a very serious hernia and your stomach is just like out in a pouch on the side, that may require surgery. Um, that is the exception, not the rule, and that's an extremely rare case. So for most of you, that's not going to be the case. Most of the time, GERD can just be managed through exercise and medication. Mostly, your doctor. At the time when I saw the doctor and had the endoscopy, I was a little over 200 pounds. He basically told me like, hey, lose 10, 15 pounds can't hurt, which I actually have. As of today, I'm 186 pounds. So since August, I've actually lost a good amount of weight. Where I'm almost to that 20-pound point now. So I'm going to keep that going. I don't want to go, too much. I don't want to go really below like 180 because I do think that'll be detrimental to the strength gains. But I have lost some weight, so that's good. The doctor told me that wouldn't be a bad idea. And then the other is just medication. They've got things like pepsids, stronger pepsids like famotidine, pantoprazole. Your doctor is probably going to try to avoid keeping you away from pantoprazole unless it's very, very severe. Reason for that is that pantoprazole can erode bones over time. Okay, it can lead to weak bones that give you osteoporosis. So most of the time, they're going to prescribe like a low intensity Pepsid. All that is, it's a more basic compound to kind of neutralize the acid. That way, like, because you're still gonna have it coming up, but it's going to neutralize it and make it less acidic. So you're not going to feel pain, and it's not really going to cause damage to the esophagus. And I'd say, again, I'm not a medical professional, but basically from what the doctor explained to me is that in 90% of the cases, this is what they're going to do. There's some exercises they may give you. They may tell you to sleep slightly sitting up rather than flat down. As that can keep the pressure. It makes it harder for the acid to come up since it's kind of like going against the slope there. So just a couple of things like that to manage it once it has been established that you do have a hernia. The extreme is surgery. The extreme is always surgery. If you're young, you'll recover from it faster. Obviously, if you're older, it can come with more. Any surgery has risks. Let's not kid ourselves, right? Um, And it does, I have read that it does take about a month, 3 weeks to a month recovery time, and you may have a big scar on your stomach. However, to my understanding, is that some hernias can actually be surgically corrected laparoscopically now, which is good because that doesn't really leave a big scar. But as with any surgery, right, there's going to be scar tissue, which is not the most aesthetic and can be painful, following the surgery. So just some things to consider if you are considering the surgery, and of course the recovery time. You may not be able to work or work out, or do things that you were expecting to do because that recovery can take a while. So those are just my thoughts on hernias. I'm going to show you some exercises here, for the obliques, and just a couple of stretches that I do. I wish I'd taken stretching more seriously when I was younger. As you guys know, I'm a bit of a glass cannon. I make gains very quickly, but I also injure very quickly. And when I was younger, I didn't really take stretching that seriously. It's really, really important to do, right? Because your muscles are like rubber bands. And if it's cold out, right, and you're contracting and expanding your muscles a lot, what happens if you stretch, a rubber band, a cold rubber band, right? It just kind of snaps. That's like pulling a muscle. And I've pulled muscles a lot. Genetics plays a role in it too, because I don't have the best tendon flexibility. So that means that my quads, my hips, they're always very tight. So I tend to pull those pretty easily unless I stretch very well. It's also good, like if you're going to be doing any type of like running activity, it's good to warm up first. Do like a quick jog, or if you can, if your gym has it or you have access at home, a sauna or a hot tub, just to warm up the muscles first. Not as important if you're going into static lifting, because again, like sometimes you actually want a more tighter muscle if you're doing like a bench press or something. That can actually help to have the muscles a little tight. But definitely, like if you're going to be doing some type of like running activity or cardio, I would recommend getting the muscles nice and warm first. Maybe like a slow jog or an accelerated walk, or a hot tub or a sauna, as I said. So Connor, I hope you found this video informative and helpful. And everybody have a great day. Bye, everybody. Put your feet up, and you're gonna put your elbows out. And you're gonna bring your knee in and touch your elbow. Right. Same with the opposite side now. Those are good. You can also do side crunches, where you basically cross section your body here, bring your legs over, and you're gonna cross crunch and do both sides, right? And the last thing you can do, I don't have a medicine ball with me, but bring your legs off the ground, take a medicine ball, and twist. I think these are called Russian twists.